It is a great pleasure for me to introduce our alumnus speaker this morning from the graduating class of 1992. Dr. Nicole Stilson attended St. John the Evangelist School in Fenton before becoming a Powers Charger. While at Powers, she was a member of the National Honor Society and participated greatly in our forensics program, where she was a state finalist in the dramatic duel event. And I even understand, too, in talking with Mrs. Minor, that she even took a slap in the face as part of her dramatic duo that she presented at the state final debate championship event. During homecoming week of her senior year, Nicole was a fierce competitive player on the senior Powder Puff Girls team. And she was determined not to let her brother Jerry, who was the captain for the junior girls Powder Puff team, to gain any knowledge of the senior girls' strategies that week. Needless to say, this was an interesting homestead sibling rivalry that was going on there in the Droscher home that week. However, though, in the end, our senior girls won, prevailed with the victory for the Powder Puff game that year. And then, at halftime, during that homecoming game on that Friday evening at Holy Redeemer Field, Nicole was crowned our homecoming queen for the fall of 1991. Upon graduating from Howard's Cabinet in 1992, she continued her education at Hope College, where she earned a Bachelor of Science degree in biology in 1996. Then, she proceeded to Purdue University School of Veterinary Medicine, where she received her doctorate degree in 2000. She is currently an associate veterinarian at the Swartz Creek Veterinarian Hospital here locally. Nicole married her high school sweetheart, Don Stilson, right there in the audience there. And tomorrow they will be celebrating their 17th wedding anniversary. Congratulations, Don. She's the proud mother of three very active sons, Nathan, Brandon, and Cameron, who currently attend St. John the Evangelist in Fenton and can't wait to become Powers Chargers in just a few more years. She is an active parishioner at St. John the Evangelist, where she is the Eucharistic minister regularly. She also has assisted to bring the Covenant of Love marriage ministry to the parish this past year, and she is a team member and continuation committee member for the Christ Renews His Parish Retreat Ministry. Nicole's dedicated faith, effervescent personality, and passion for others continues to make a difference in the lives of others. Please join me in welcoming home Dr. Nicole Stilson.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. And a sincere thank you to the Powers staff for the invitation to be here today. This Powers community never ceases to amaze me. This beautiful new campus, its staff, students, parents, alumni, and supporters are a true testament to the work that God continues to do in the lives of so many. It is an honor and a privilege to be a part of celebrating the achievements of the Powers Catholic High School class of 2014 and their commitment to academic, athletic, spiritual, and community service endeavors. I'd like to begin by sharing a story with you from noted speaker, author, and internationally known evangelist, Sister Ann Shields. Many years ago, while Sister Ann was teaching at Franciscan University of Steubenville, she lived on a street that had a literal canopy of large, strong, and beautiful trees lining both sides of the street for 6 or 7 blocks. One day, while on campus at the university, a very sudden and unexpected windstorm arose. It blew across Steubenville in a matter of minutes and did significant damage. When Sister Ann was able, she returned to her home only to find 7 blocks of utter devastation. All the trees had been blown over, one falling on another. Staring at the effects of that wind, she noticed that the uprooted trees all had very shallow roots. For years, Sister Ann has used the example of those trees as she speaks to people about making sure that their roots are not shallow, that they are planted deeply into Christ. While the trees looked good, they were actually very vulnerable since they did not have a solid foundation. One evening, at the end of a talk where Sister Ann used this example of the trees, a man came up to her and asked her if she knew why those roots were so shallow. She replied that she assumed it was the type of tree. No, he responded. The tree's roots were shallow because they were never tested. He explained that when trees have to search for water, they put their roots down very deep to find it. The toppled trees never had to search for water. The water was plentiful, abundant. Only when trees have to seek what they need do they grow very strong and are able to endure when a storm or calamity hit them. Similar to the trees I just described, the roots of every student here are growing in abundant soil. The rich, faith-filled soil of Powers Catholic High School, where your parents have lovingly planted you. It is this rich environment that has helped you to grow and provide you with the strength and perseverance to achieve the honors we celebrate today. Seniors, as you graduate this Sunday and begin a new chapter in life, like the branches on a tree, you will grow in different directions. Your roots, still relatively young and shallow, will begin to be tested in ways they have never been before. It will soon be more your responsibility than your parents to seek nourishment for your roots. There will be many things along the way that may appear to sustain you. Wealth, possessions, influence, physical relationships, drugs, alcohol, but ultimately they will not strengthen you. The roots that have been planted here for you at Powers will grow deeper and stronger as you journey through life, only if you continue to seek out the nourishing, life-giving water of Jesus Christ. During the years to come, without doubt, you will face trials and tribulations. You will face larger trials, such as the rigors of moving on to college academics, ever-present and increasing peer pressure, career or vocation choices, balancing married life and children, physical and or emotional setbacks, loss of loved ones. The list goes on and on. We often witness or hear stories about individuals who manage to weather these larger life storms with grace, only because they are deeply rooted in Christ. It's always amazing to me to see how these individuals come through their storms stronger than they were before, and in the midst of it all, they provide an extraordinary witness of living faith to so many others. It is less often that we hear of the smaller, everyday trials of life, which in their own way make us just as strong. It is these smaller, day-to-day storms that actually remind me that if I want to remain deeply rooted, I must seek God's face and His will for my life each and every day. But like many things, this is much easier said than done. I'd like to share a recent example of this in my own life. When Senior Pope called and invited me to speak today, he was oozing with excitement as he informed me of the details. I, on the other hand, was immediately struck with fear and nausea over the thought of having to speak in public. I sat on the phone, silently listening and simultaneously asking, why me, God? Why are you asking me to do this? I'm terrified of public speaking. Anything else but this. And then before I knew what was coming out of my mouth, I had graciously accepted Senior Paul's invitation to be here. I have stewed about these minutes here with you for the past 4 weeks, fearful and anxiety-ridden, even to the point of tears and sleepless nights. In some ways, I feel like a hypocrite telling this all to you, telling you to have this strong, unwavering faith. Because in reality, my faith wavers flat, sometimes every day. But that's okay, because in my time of fear and wavering faith, I was reminded once again that trusting in the plan God has laid before me, no matter how big or small, is not always easy. But when I set my roots down deep, searching for Christ, He has never failed me. By nothing other than God's grace that has been given to me in order that I might have faith. Seniors, as you leave this rich, faith-filled soil of Powers Catholic High School, looking forward to the plans that God has for your lives, will you persevere in Christ, letting your roots go deeper and deeper in Him as the winds break over you? Will the roots of your life be so deep in Christ that you can withstand the storm by His power and grace? There are thousands upon thousands of witnesses to the faith who have shown us that if you remain rooted in Christ's love, you will be sure to weather all of life's storms and will more than likely be pleasantly surprised by the countless blessings that result from letting your faith be bigger than your fear. Now let me paint one last picture in your mind this morning. In the late 1800s, a Protestant minister by the name of Andrew Murray wrote about discovering a grapevine in England that produced far more than the average number of clusters of grapes each season. Many people were amazed to see it so fruitful when all the other vines were producing only what was expected from that type of grape. When a study was finally done, the results were amazing. The roots of that single vine had grown down deep into the soil to find nourishment and had actually traveled over a mile until they sunk themselves deeply in the rich soil of the Thames River. The vine is still present today, over 100 years later, producing abundant clusters of grapes. Through war and famine, severe storms, and even times of drought, that vine has never failed to produce fruit because it was deeply and permanently rooted. As you leave here today, keep this image before your eyes and allow God to work in you, that each of you may not fear the storms of life, but stand firm on your deep roots and bear fruit 30 and 60 and 100-fold for the glory of His name. May God abundantly bless you all with ever-deepening faith in the God who loves you, and may the roots of your faith go deeper and deeper in Christ. Thank you.